You have questions? America's #1 business coach has answers. It's your Broda from Minnesota. Here's another edition of Ask Clay Anything on the Thrive Time Business Coach Radio Show.
All right, Jason and Dr. Breck. Dr. Breck, DrBreck.com. Check him out, DrBreck.com. You can check him out to learn more about the man, the myth, the legend. Sir, how are you on this beautiful Sunday morning?
I'm doing phenomenal, Clay. How are you doing?
Well, I'm excited about today's show because it's going to be short. It's going to be powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we're going to answer a question for a thriver who wanted to know, how do you create repeat business and customer service experiences that wow in the digital age?
Yeah.
How do you do that? That's a great question. So I'm going to walk the client through the steps here. Jason, we'll go through the steps, and we're going to go fast and furious. And then I would like for each time, every time we get to the fast and furious point,
right,
I'd like for Dr. Breck to break it down. And then the next one, I'll have you break it down, Jason, and we'll just go around the horn. Here we go. So step number 1, define your goals. Clearly define your goals for your faith, family, finances, fitness, friendship, and fun. I thought we were trying to make a repeatable system that wows customers. Stop. Step 1, clearly define your goals. Your goals for your faith, your family, your finances, your fitness, your friendship, and your fun. Make sure that your business exists to serve you and not just, everybody else. Make sure your business exists to serve you and that you don't become a slave to your business. Make sure that you define your goals for your faith, your family, your finances, your fitness, your friendship, your fun. Hey, I'm trying to write that down. Make sure you write down your goals for your faith, your family, your finances, your fitness, your friendship, and your fun. Notable quotable, Napoleon Hill, the best-selling self-help author of all time, who's sold 100 million copies of his book. He says, a goal is a dream with a deadline. So again, I ask you, what are your goals? What are your goals? What are your goals? Because you then should build a customer service experience that wows the customers to the place where you can achieve your financial goals. That's the whole point of it.
Yep.
So the action items I have for the listeners, and we talked about this on a previous show that we recorded today, is 1, you got to schedule a time every single day to get to work 1 hour before your staff, to make that to-do list, and to print to-do list, and to print the to-do list. You want to, every day, schedule a time 1 hour before the workday starts to make that daily to-do list and to create that daily schedule. And then you want to print that off. And then every week, if you want to be successful, if you want to make a customer service experience that wows, you got to have a 1 hour weekly accounting meeting every week. Step 2. Step 3, got to have a weekly group interview. Step 3. Step 4, got to have a weekly staff meeting, 1 hour. Step 5, got to schedule daily huddles with your team every day to motivate them, fire them up. Step 6, got to schedule a weekly sales meeting. Now, Dr. Breck, please explain to the listeners why it isn't worth doing any of these things if you don't know your goals. Because you got to do a lot of stuff to make it successful.
Sure, absolutely. But you got to also know where you're headed. I mean, you got to have a destination in mind before you take off in the car to go. Otherwise, you may be heading in the complete wrong direction.
And so, again, there's all these steps we have to do. If you said, hey, how do I make a customer service experience that wows? I just told you the steps. I'll repeat it again for you. We got to do these steps, but you don't want to do these steps if they're not going to help you get to your goals. So step 1, block out an hour per day to make your daily to-do list and your schedule, 1 hour before you see a human every day. Step 2, you got to schedule a weekly accounting meeting every freaking week, every week. Step 3, schedule the weekly group interview. Step 4, schedule the weekly staff meeting. Step 5, have daily huddles. Step 6, make that weekly sales meeting happen. Now, in those meetings, that's where you say, how can we make the sales script a little better this week? You see in the sales meeting. That's how you in the huddle say, how can we make the office experience a little bit better today? That's when you refine and hone the checklists. In the staff meeting, like, how can we improve our experience a little bit there? In the weekly group interview, how do we optimize our team? How can we find a better player on our team? How can we bring in a better front desk person to answer the phone? How can we find a better manager, a better salesperson, a better dentist, a better doctor? How can we, in our accounting meeting, how can we reduce expenses by 3%? What can we do to improve the experience? But you have to do that every day. This is your weekly schedule.
Yeah.
So you define your goals. Now, step 2, you got to define your roles. What key positions do you have on your team that you need to turn your goals into reality? You might have the best systems, but who's on your team? Notable quotable from Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple, the founder of Next, and the former CEO of Pixar. He says, a small team of A players can run circles around a giant team of B and C players. Maya Angelou, who didn't work at Apple, the best-selling author, actress, and playwright, who famously was asked to speak at President Clinton's inauguration. She says, nothing works unless you do. So define your roles. Jason, let's talk about this for a second. What happens if you have idiots on your team?
Well, if you have idiots on your team, you're not going to be able to have that repeatable, awesome customer service experience because people aren't going to want to deal with a team of jackasses.
And Jason, you've coached clients for long enough to know that by default, most people have a team of
jackasses.
This just in, because Inc. magazine now shows that 85% of candidates lie on their resumes and 75% of employees steal from the workplace. So again, Breck, if we know our goals,
Right.
we got this new schedule, we're fired up today. Come on, baby.
Yeah.
But then we have idiots on the team. What happens?
Well, the best plan doesn't work if you don't execute. And so you've got to have the processes, you've got to have the plan, but
so
then
good.
you have to have execution. And I believe, I heard this, I wish I knew who it was that said it now, but it's been so long ago. Execution is worship. And I love that because I want to be about worship every day. And to execute means that I'm doing that.
Well, I will say in the Hebrew language, where the Bible was written in Hebrew, we had Rabbi Lappin on the show, Rabbi Daniel Lappin on the show. And he pointed out to us that in the Hebrew language, which the Bible was written in, the word work actually does mean worship.
Yeah.
So work and worship mean the same thing. So that's a powerful idea,
Right.
To work as unto the Lord and not as unto human masters. So step 1, define your goals. Step 2, define the roles. Ask yourself right now, get out a sheet of paper and ask yourself, write out all the names of your teammates right now and right next to their name, A player, B player, or C player. Clay, how do I know? How do I know if they're A players? How do I know if they're B players? Well, okay, an A player is somebody who is always early and always before they leave says, "What can I do to improve?"
Right.
That's A players. They always, what else can I do?
They
A player.
elevate the game of those around them.
Right.
Yeah.
B players do just enough. They get there 1 second before they need to be there, and they leave 1 second early. That's a B player, or right on time.
Yeah.
C players, they always have a personal problem. Jason, what are some of the reasons why people call in sick when you've managed some of the businesses for me? What are some of the reasons they call in sick?
They could have a hangover, which happens a lot. They could still be inebriated, which has happened.
Okay.
They could just be going through a personal issue that they claim is sickness, or they just need a me day because they feel overwhelmed.
How often, with a team of, let's say, 4 dozen people, how often do you get somebody calling in sick with a team of 4 dozen people?
At the most frequent, it was about 3 or 4 times a week, but that was across,
But let's brag on somebody like Spencer, or let's brag on somebody like, let's go Spencer.
Yeah.
Or the new addition to the team, Mimi.
Mhm.
How often does Spencer call in?
Spencer has literally only ever been out when she was dying. She was
was deathly ill, bad. like danger zone.
Extremely bad. Had to go to the hospital.
Highway to the danger zone.
But she still came to the morning meeting. We had to send her home. That's how dedicated she is.
She showed up.
Certain people show up.
Yeah.
And my favorite ability is dependability. All right. So
Yep.
Step 2, define your roles. Make sure you got the right people on the bus. Step 3, design the systems, Breck. We got to write the scripts,
Right.
checklists,
True.
autoresponder emails.
Mm-hmm.
And this just in from Atul Gawande. He's a Harvard professor. He wrote the book called Checklist Manifesto. He's a professor of surgery at the Harvard Medical School. He's sort of a big deal. He wrote the book called The Checklist Manifesto, How to Get Things Right. He writes, here we go. We don't like checklists. They can be painstaking. They're not much fun. But I don't think the issue here is mere laziness. There's something deeper, more visceral going on when people walk away, not only from saving lives, but from making money. It somehow feels beneath us to use a checklist. An embarrassment. And in his book, he goes to hospitals, surgery centers, and figures out why did people die.
Yeah.
It's like a third of the time people are dying because the doctor forgot to read the chart.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's, the most common little
Crazy.
easy to correct things.
Okay, so you're allergic to this, and this will kill you, right? Okay, great. What are you allergic to? I want to make sure we don't give that to you in surgery. Uh-oh, we gave it to you.
Right.
So Atul Gawande did research and found that when hospitals implement a checklist, it dramatically decreases the amounts of death. When small business owners use a checklist, it decreases issues. So what you got to do is step 3, you got to make a checklist. You got to design those systems. Make a checklist and a script for everything.
Right.
Breck, why don't people want to use a checklist, and how have checklists helped you to change your business at drbreck.com?
So people do not want to use a checklist because it's accountability, and people don't naturally want accountability. Why it's made a difference for me is because accountability makes a difference. When you can hold people accountable, then things do get done, and we make progress in the direction towards our goals, towards my goals.
So if you're out there today and you said, well, Dr. Breck, you were in business for almost 10 years without really being profitable, just going in a circle, working every hour possible.
Just kind of getting by.
And you've been able to team up with Tim Redmond, who's been your coach and has helped you. How big of a bugaboo is it? How impossible is it? How nefarious and terrible is it for a small business owner out there to refuse to make checklists and scripts part of their culture? What's going to happen?
Well, if you want to continue to get the same results, continue doing the same thing. But if you want to start winning and get out of this doom loop, then try doing something different. Get a coach, listen to that coach, be coachable, and start taking action steps. I mean, put together the plan, then execute the plan, put together the team, make the team execute the plan, hold people accountable, don't worry about being liked. All these are just one step after another, but they all build to something greater.
Step 4, implement a culture of accountability.
Yeah.
Follow up. Trust but verify. Notable quotable coming in hot from Andy Grove, the co-founder of Intel. He says, only the paranoid survive. Step 4, to create a culture of accountability, follow up. Trust but verify. Only the paranoid survive. Implement a culture of accountability. Trust but verify. Only the paranoid survive. Think about that. To create a culture of accountability where people actually get crap done, you must follow up. True. Trust but verify, Ronald Reagan. But only the paranoid survive. Ronald Reagan said, trust but verify. Talk to me, Jason, about what would happen at Elephant in the Room or Make Your Life Epic, our one-on-one coaching branch, or the online podcast Thrive Time show, or any business we're involved in if we did not follow up.
If we didn't follow up, it wouldn't get done. That's why it doesn't matter if it's the Thrive coaching program, the action items within the meetings at Thrive, or the checklist we have at Elephant in the Room. If you're working at Elephant in the Room, you know that you have this hour to get this done. And at the end of the day, the manager is going to go through and make sure that every 2-hour cycle, those were initialed. If they weren't, that's somebody's behind. But if they are, we verify that it got done.
Come on.
So we make sure that they're not just signing off on a checklist if they didn't do it. It's the same thing for all of the checklists for the managers. Are you
saying that people would sign off on a checklist without doing the items on the checklist if we didn't follow up?
They have, and I've seen them, and I've had to reprimand them for it.
Guaranteed.
How often do you catch somebody saying, yeah, I deposited the money. Yeah, I cleaned the bathroom. Yes, I cleaned the windows. Yes, I made the call, and they didn't do it, Breck. How often?
It happens routinely.
I would say weekly in my life.
Yeah, more often than you want, but
you wouldn't know that
if it's
important
enough.
Up. I keep it on my own checklist.
I love the former graphic designers I used to have. These guys would say, I got it done. You did? Is it so it's saved? Oh, yeah. Is it in Dropbox? Can I find it there? Can the client find it? Oh, it's on my laptop at home. Okay, well, step 1, you can't work from home like we talked about. Step 2, I don't think it is on your laptop. You're right, it's not on my laptop. Did you even start it? No. Fired. Over and over and over. I'm just telling you, trust but verify. But Clay, I don't want my people to feel like they're micromanaged. Get out of here with that crap.
There's no such thing as I used to get that a lot when we first started.
I don't want to be micromanaged.
Yeah, we re-implemented the checklist at Elephant to help optimize. People are like, this is micromanagement. Micromanagement and management are the same thing.
They're the same thing.
Yeah.
Micromanage was the term invented by Bernie Sanders to allow anybody who sucks at their job to justify why they quit when they currently don't have a job.
Yep.
Is a term. This is I see so many Bernie Sanders fans who have quit their job to go protest not having a job. Seriously, do your freaking checklist. Make a checklist. Use the checklist. Use a checklist. Make a check. But I don't want to feel trapped. I've never had that thought. I don't care. If you don't want to feel trapped, get off my field. Go find another hobby or occupation. Step 5, track what matters most. The final step. Step 5, track what matters most. You got to measure what you treasure.
True.
So Peter Drucker, the iconic management consultant who developed an extensive consulting business around his personal relationships with top management. He basically taught the Japanese after World War II how to build efficient systems. He's the man who's created, he's credited as having created the Industrial Revolution for Japan after World War II.
Oh.
So the automotive
Huge.
industry for Japan. Peter Drucker,
Which then changed the automotive industry as a whole.
there we go. So but he's all about tracking what matters most. And he says if you can't measure it, you can't improve it.
Yeah.
You measure what you treasure.
Yep.
If you can't measure it, you can't measure it. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it. If you can't measure it, I don't know how much our sales were this week. Then you can't improve it.
Nope.
If you can't measure it, I don't know how many reviews we got this week. You can't improve it. I don't know what my sales conversion percentage was. Well, then we can't improve it. I don't know what the score was to the football game. Then we can't improve it there, Bobby. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, the final score after today's football game is back to you on the field. Was that a great game here? We had a great game. We had the New England Patriots play today. A hell of a game today. Great game today versus the Ravens. And back to you in the booth. The final score today from the reporting here from Gillette Stadium is, well, Bob, what time is it? I don't use a watch either. I don't believe in tracking or measuring. So again, folks, just wrapping up today's game, the Ravens versus the Patriots here from Gillette Stadium. With an outstanding performance, the Ravens were able to get back to you. Well, great performance by the Ravens quarterback today, Joe Flacco. He had an unbelievable performance. He threw for back to you in the booth. Joe Flacco today had a great performance. He threw for his completion percentage was anyway, back to you. And so now the running game was incredible here today for the Patriots. They ran for an incredible. Back to you in the booth.
Right.
You got to know
Every which way. Yeah.
You have to know. Keep score. Track.
To know the score can improve.
Track what matters. No, I don't have time to track what matters. Yes, you do. Wake up 1 hour before everybody else does. Make a to-do list and a schedule. Step 2, schedule that weekly accounting meeting. Schedule the group interview. Schedule the weekly staff meeting. Daily huddles.
Yep.
Weekly sales meetings. It works every time.
Every single time.
But nothing works unless you do.
Right.
Final thought. We care enough about you on the Thrive Time Show to teach you what you need to do to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
But according to Forbes, 9 out of 10 entrepreneurs fail. 9 out of 10 startups fail.
Right.
And only 9 out of 100 people ever start a company. So you have statistically less than 1%, a 1% chance of being successful. However, you will be successful with our method. And if you go to thrivetimeshow.com and you click on the conferences button, you're going to see, or click on the testimonials button. You know, we have over 1,000 people on video whose lives have been changed as a result of implementing the systems.
Oh, yeah.
So what I'm going to do as we wrap up today's shows, I'm going to cue up an audio of Aaron Antis with Shaw Homes explaining how he's been able to totally change his business as a result of implementing the systems. And if you'll implement these systems, your life will change too. And now without any further ado, 3, 2, 1, boom!
Our sales have gone up $8.2 million so far through the end of third quarter, which is a 20.3% increase from last year. So, pretty hot.
If you're doing math.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to have you talk about the 3 things, and you don't have to look at him, or you can just talk to the team.
Yeah.
The 3 things you're doing, there's a lot of things you're doing well, but there's 3 things I think that I want to hammer home on. Okay. One is you get Google reviews and you add content. So 1 is reviews and content. 2 is the group interview. And 3 is scripting and firing the idiots that won't follow the scripts. So let's go with Google reviews and content. How do you do it? How have you gotten your team to do it? Just the people in here can then take this knowledge and share with their clients.
So a year ago, I had a 16-member sales team. Today, I have 2 of those people still remaining on my team. So I meet with them every single week and make sure that they're doing Google reviews, and we have 16 different locations on Google My Business, so we have a lot of locations to get reviews for. In the last 30 days, we have, between all of those locations, just under 200 Google reviews, and but I force them to do a certain number every single week. And so they saw the people who were there have heard from the people, or the people who are there heard from the people who used to be there, that when we started getting more Google reviews, we started having more people come in the doors. And actually our traffic in our models is way up. And if you look behind the scenes on Insights, you can see where people are clicking on driving directions and showing up at our models because of Google reviews.
Ready to buy.
And they're ready to buy. Yeah, they're convinced before they get there. When we hit 100, it seemed like it was a tipping point on our main page that at 100, the customers were convinced before they came in that they wanted a home from us, which I never saw before.
And we don't change the ads. Pretty much the ads are the same.
Haven't changed them in a long time. Yeah.
And the ads work because of the reviews.
Yep.
And you guys are writing content. You write
Yep.
content. We've been writing
Yeah,
content.
same thing every week. I make sure that they do podcasts, and I gave you, I don't even know how many this last week, but lots of them. So
Every week.
Every week.
But the reason why the relationship I have with Aaron is really solid as far as the coaching relationship goes is that he does not bring in his employees and ask for their feedback about the things I'm telling him.
No.
He does not ask them, hey, what do you guys think? And so I can say to him in a meeting, hey, fire those people. And then one of the people that he fired goes to Dr. Breck's chiropractic center. So he's getting an adjustment. And he's like, you work with Clay, don't you? He goes, yes. He's like, I hate that guy. He got me fired. And so Breck says something to the effect of, okay, well, you want me to adjust your back? And he continues to share how he doesn't like that he got fired. But at the end of the day, the reason why whoever it was, I don't even know the person's name, they got fired, so they just would not write reviews and wouldn't write content. So it's really important with your clients that they shouldn't bring their employees to those meetings if at all possible, because that's a problem.
Yeah, and the other thing was at first I started by just doing the group interview when I needed somebody, and then it seemed like the more and more I held people accountable, the more and more I needed somebody all the time. So,
you know, that crucible where I think we worked together about a year and a half, and I remember we had a conversation, and if I'm saying it wrong, correct me, but it was something to the effect of, is having this much turnover good? It was something like that.
In fact, I think I said it in that tone of voice.
Because leadership will sometimes tell you that you have high turnover, you're a bad boss.
Right.
And I would tell you that if you have low turnover, you're a bad boss.
So a really cool meeting that happened is one of the people that I most recently fired, who was demanded a meeting with Glenn Shaw to complain about the Thrive method of doing things, that we had turned over 31 people in 2 years. He had counted, and he had gone and gotten transcripts from all of them to share with Mr. Shaw about how horrible the Thrive way doesn't work. And so as he sat down to start explaining this, he's like, well, let me just explain that system doesn't work and there's been so much turnover. And Glenn goes, let me just stop you right there. The last 3 years have all been record-setting years for us, both in volume and profitability. So that argument isn't going to fly right here. So did you have something else you wanted to talk about? So that was the entirety of our conversation.
I just wanted you guys to give examples, because he and I are both Patriots fans, and they got a guy, Ben Watson, I believe his name was, who was drafted on the Patriots. He played on the Patriots for, I think, 3 seasons or 2 seasons, and then they let him go play somewhere else. And he's been in the NFL for, I think, 15 years, and they convinced he and his wife and their 7 kids to move back to New England and to unretire to play this year's tight end.
Yeah.
And then they just cut him the other day because he wasn't a good fit. So the point is, it's like if you look at the roster of the Patriots or any team that wins at anything, you're very loyal to people who perform, but people who can't get it done, you're not mad at them. It's just like, I realize that you and your wife and your 7 kids have moved here and you came out of retirement. All these things are great, but we're cutting you.
Yep.
Because you're not performing within the system.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole goal of a business is to grow the business. The goal of the business is not to create a fun camp environment for the employees to hang out.
This
Does that
is
make
so
sense?
true. Yeah.
So it's very different though than, but if you hadn't cut those people, we couldn't do it. Now you have a great team.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them have been there now 6 months or a year. We're starting to get it. And then those people should stick around for years.
Yeah, and like 50 people a week keep coming, looking, and everybody wants to work at our company, and it's pretty awesome.
So let's recap though. Group interviews every week.
Yep.
How many candidates do you have every week that are showing up at this point?
I mean, we get like 50-ish
I think we had
per week.
71 RSVP.
Yeah, I mean, we had 70 something, but like 50 show up,
Yep.
and then that's out of like 120 to 130 that apply every week.
And out of last week's batch, we probably had 8 people, maybe 9 people,
Mm-hmm.
that I think would be a great fit for Shaw.
Yep.
But it's because they want it, not because they have experience selling houses.
Yep.
So it's about 8 or 9 from last week. And then content, you're getting that every week. Reviews, you're getting every week. You're not changing your ads every week.
I'm going to throw one more thing in here that you didn't ask about, but that was really relevant for me. And that is, I feel like what we do is super specialized. When I first came in here, I was like, but you don't understand, our business is different. I know you guys have all heard this, right? You don't understand, our business is different. This is so specialized. There's so much training that needs to go into this. And I never in a million years thought that I could get people to like sell homes right away that hadn't been here for a year going through intensive training. And the interesting part of it is we just hired a couple of people who have never done this, don't know what they're doing, plugged them into the system. One of them did 1.5 million in sales his first 30 days, which is just nuts. And he's never done this before. The other one was like 1.2 million in 30 days. And we've sold with tons of brand new people. By the way, while I was out of town in Alaska for 2 weeks, we sold in 60 days, we sold 46 houses. So kind of crazy with all brand new people.
And then the scripting we have going on, starting this week, I think you guys are bringing by workstations.
Yep.
And then we'll hire 2 people to work in this building, but just calling just for you, for your leads all the time.
Yep.
And the scripting, can you explain how the scripting has fixed things too? 'Cause now there's a script for everything.
Yeah, so that was the part about like them having to be like so proficient in what we do. I thought they needed to know everything about the entire company and all the massive amounts of data and charts and stuff we have. But interestingly, if I just give them 4 things they need to talk about in each home on a 1 sheet, and then what we call the path, which explains how to buy a home, and I literally make them read the bullet points while pointing to each bullet point on this chart, the customer completely understands how to buy a home from us. And then we created what we call the John Kelly method of pricing out the customer, thanks to John, kudos, for the pricing out of the home, which was like the most complicated part because you needed to know everything about how a home is built. Well, you no longer do. It's just literally a PowerPoint where they read what's on every slide as they go through this slideshow. And it literally asks them the question, do you want this or this? This is how this works. Do you want this or this? And they don't need to know anything.
3 years ago, before we met, what were the sales for the year? Because you'd already sold $800 million of houses before.
Yeah, that year, I want to say we were at 36 million.
And what are we at right now so
far? Today we are at 62 million.
And then we're going to end the year, unless we suck.
I think we'll be at 80 million this year.
Wow.
By the end of the
Now,
year.
one thought for you: when you sell a house, you make a profit of about 6%. The company makes.
That's net after all expenses. Although that number is up, we're probably going to be at about 8.5% this year.
So if a house is $300,000, the average house, and the profit was 10%, which is not, that would be $30,000. So it's 8%. It'd be $24,000. So $24,000 of profit per house you sell.
Yep.
And then I make $2,000 per month. That's what I charge you.
Yep.
Or $1,700.
We are 2,500.
Okay, because you're exclusive for houses.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. So he pays $2,500.
Yep.
So if he sells one house, he paid for me for the year.
Yep.
And you usually sell a house a week, which means I pay for myself for the year every week.
I'm pretty sure out of the extra 8.2 million this year, we can afford you.
Which is why I have the Yeezys.
I did the math. I had our accounting department look at that real close.
Aaron's going to be auto shipping us all Yeezys.
Mm.
It's a statement of faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, anybody have any questions for Aaron? Because Shaw, this is an example of what the relationship should look like after 3 years. Does anybody have any questions for a real life win?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So for you coming in with a mindset of we're unique, we're different, how was it? What did Clay do? How did he get you to think differently about your business?
He mocked me with humor, and repeatedly, over and over again, and told me different stories of other examples from other industries, and I definitely had a pain threshold there that I was willing to at least look at it. I think I believed half of what he told me at the beginning and thought, prove it to me on the other half. And so as I started to get wins in certain areas, like the Google review thing really gave us wins. And then the no-brainer gave us a bunch of wins, and we started getting a lot more leads coming in. So that credibility lended itself to going, okay, maybe he's right about some of this other stuff too. So I started like trying other parts of it. Like I remember the first time I did the group interview, I was shocked at how much time it saved me. And so
literally it's like 50 hours of time saved.
Yes.
Maybe even more than that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's terrible. I mean, just so you guys know, if you are Aaron and you didn't have a group interview, you'd have to go through and read all the resumes and then guess who's lying and who's not based upon penmanship or what college they went to or how they formatted it or whatever. And then you'd have to interview the people. And then you'd have, I mean, it's just terrible.
I can also remember like some meetings sitting in, and it was like the 4th or 5th time he had told me the same thing, but just in a slightly different way, always with humor, because if you're going to be honest, you got to be funny.
You look at Bible verses.
Yep.
And you and I have seen this before. We've been to church long enough to see this, but there are pastors in America today who advocate that money is bad because it's the root of all evil. I'm sure you've all heard that argument. Aaron, have you heard this argument?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you've heard pastors paraphrase parts of Scripture that explain that you should basically be poor because of money is bad. I'm sure you've heard this.
Yeah.
But if anybody here would actually read the context of it, you'd understand that the love of money overall is bad. But just money in and of itself is just a thing. It's not bad or good. But anyway, like, so when you guys are citing things, most marketing companies in Tulsa either A, do not cite things, or they cite emotional arguments. Mm-hmm. So it'll be like this. If you're dealing with most marketing companies in Tulsa, they would say, asking for reviews doesn't work. And furthermore, you can't ask in the home. Because if you ask them in the home, it's going to show up as a review from the same IP address, and then the reviews won't count. And so really what we want to do is make this app for you. And this app called Pilot, what's it called? Pilot? Trustpilot. What's another one? Just like, but it's going to text people or email them and ask them how their experience was, and then they'll leave a review that way. And so when I'm telling my client, you have to get reviews in the home right then, boom, 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 it is flying in the face of every other marketing firm in Tulsa. Everybody else is saying the opposite of what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Your employees are saying the opposite of what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Articles online that are written by randos who have blogs are also saying so.
And then I had a couple that thought you were nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I didn't cite it, there's zero hope.
Yeah.
You can't just go in there and say things. And you cannot not be funny. Like, not being funny is a really bad thing.
Yep.
You have to be very honest with people.
Yeah, I mean, you had some painful conversations with me through the process. You know, I mean, probably out of the first 20 times we met, I only cried like 8 times. So, but during those painful conversations, when you mix it with humor, made it a little bit easier to palate. So, and then it was logical argument too. So I would go home and like think through the logic of what you mentioned, and then think about the cited stuff.
But false logic is what other marketing firms use. I want to make sure you understand. You can't just say, well, a 9 out of 10 business owners are using Trustpilot to get reviews. Like, you can't. That's not that's false logic. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, they are, which is why they're wrong. Or you can't say that 9 out of 10 business owners think that a group interview is unethical and it doesn't work. Yeah, that's also false logic. Of course they don't, because they're wrong. And so it's almost like, and I told you the other day, Nick, I said, if everybody says something, I always then go the opposite of what they think is true. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so we have to teach these clients this stuff, and you got to cite it, otherwise they won't. I'm just telling you, because other marketing firms are teaching false logic, which is 9 out of 10 people say you shouldn't use the script because you don't want to make your employees feel like robots. Well, that's great. That is a great step. You know, but you shouldn't be asking your employees if they want to feel like robots or not. That's a false question. So any other questions for Aaron? Because Aaron's been out down the path, down the system for years now and doing a great job. And I think next year, if Trump wins, I think you'll do $100 million of sales. If he loses, I think you'll probably do 80 again. Yep. We'll see. But, I mean, do you agree with that?
I would agree with that. But I'll say, either way, we're doing $100 million next year.
Okay, any other questions for Aaron?
Yeah, I have a question about the sales scripting process and also the John Kelly method process.
Yeah.
When you go to do that project to work on your business, was that harder than you thought it was going to be initially? Like, once you'd been through the process, what was that like compared to what you thought it would be like?
I wouldn't say it was harder. I mean, the one thing, the phrase, first you nail it, then you scale it. Like, I already had all the information in my brain. It was more of a thing of, like, putting it all down on paper. And it really helped, like, having John live to talk to, because he had just been through our old process. And so he was like, I can't picture what you're talking about. You're trying to describe to me what crown molding on top of these windows looks like, and I don't have a picture in front of me. I can't see it. So it was a delegation of getting all these photos brought together. But then literally what Clay said is write down exactly what you would say, and then make them say what you would say, but you have it all written down. And so that part was pretty easy, although it took a little bit of time. The content was easy, and I think for most people, if they're like, they come from the place of being a technician in their business and now they're trying to be the business owner, they should be able to take that technician information and just translate it down. You might need to be the person who kind of steers the ship a little bit if they do kind of not know how to, like, communicate well or something.
I had one more thought that let me know that Aaron was on the right track. He now hates website edits the way I do.
Yes,
Because we realize it's stupid things that don't actually help.
I do.
So we do as few as possible. We have to, because you have inventory, you have to update it. But, I mean, most clients want to do endless website edits. And we got to a place where I think you and I had a conversation. I don't remember what meeting it was, but I said something like, Aaron, I want your website to be able to do this, that, and this. I want us to be able to have an app that does online sales where people can go online and pick their own crap. I want this to happen, but it's not canonically compliant, so your site won't rank high if we do those things. So we can make the site look really great, but no one would find it, if that makes sense. So we're going to make it look as good as it can while sticking within the guidelines of Google. But there was a time where I could tell, you can tell when the relationship's good or not when the client starts to disdain website edits, because they recognize it as not being a profitable activity.
Well, and I also started to realize it actually really doesn't matter that much what your website looks like. It just matters if it gets found. I mean, and then what your no-brainer is. Like, those are the things
And you put
that
Lucky
really
Orange
matter.
on your site. Where do people spend their time on your site?
They only go to, we had all these different things they could go do, and we found out of like the 10 things they could do, they only looked at move-in ready available homes and the photo gallery, and that was it. They didn't go anywhere else. And they never went below the fold, ever.
Never
like,
scroll down.
Never scroll down.
Biggest home builder in Oklahoma. There it is. Any other questions?
We
for Aaron?
had tons of content below the fold. Oh, God. So much good stuff that nobody ever saw.
Any other questions?
It was
for
awesome.
Aaron? Anybody? No? Well, Aaron, big win.
Stop what you're doing and think about this for a second. What would happen if your company was suddenly able to generate exponentially more quality sales leads? That would be incredible. What would happen if your company came up at the top or near the top of the Google search engine results? Well, I would just feel overwhelmed with all that business. How many thousands of dollars in lost sales or millions of dollars in lost sales are you missing out on simply because your potential customers can't find you when they go online to search for the products and services that you offer? I refuse to think that thought because I don't want any more business. Unless you are a dirty communist that hates money, my new book, Search Engine Domination, will help you grow your business. In my new book, Search Engine Domination, we will teach you the specific steps that you need to take to dominate the search engine results. What do you mean by dominate? You see, in my new book, Search Engine Domination, we will teach you the specific steps that you need to take to dominate search engine results. Download your free ebook copy today at thebestseobook.com. I repeat, that's thebestseobook.com.
My name is Amy Baltimore, and I am a CPA in Covington, Tennessee. I've been working with the Thrive team now for about a year. One of the first things that they did was to update my website and my search engine optimization. I prior had a website, but I was not being found on Google, and all of my new business was coming through referrals from friends, family, etc. And right away, I started to see results. People were calling and coming in saying that they found me on Google. They just Googled CPA near me, and there I was at the top of the page. And so it's been a great help to my business.
Again, you can download your free ebook copy today at thebestseobook.com.
Hey, this is Dustin Huff. I'm with Keystone Harbor Marina. We joined Thrive back in January and have been working with these guys for about 7 months. During that time period, we have moved up our Google rank through reviews and SEO processes that we've compiled through these guys. Our leads have gone from about 4 a week to now 165 a week. So the process works. I will tell you from experience, once you begin, you have to stay with it. As long as you continually do this week in and week out, month in and month out, you'll continually grow.
The system works, but nothing works unless you do. You've got to take some action. Download the ebook for free today at thebestseobook.com.
Hello, my name is Daniel with Daniel's Heating and Air here in Amarillo, Texas. The way Google has affected my business, we have got a lot of calls from Google. Right now it's July and we've had the best month ever. And it took us about 8 to 10 months to get on top of Google, and I'm glad we did.
Remember, nothing works unless you do. You have to go to thebestseobook.com today. Download the ebook for free. Just download that ebook for free, and you'll be off to the races.
Hi, my name is Christina Nemus. I'm the owner and operator of Angel's Touch Auto Body and Detailing in Bourne, Massachusetts. We have been working with Thrive and their coaching for, say, 8 to 9 months, and it took us about 6 months, 5 to 6 months to get on the top of Google, and with their help with the website and marketing, and the SEO and retargeting ads with Google, and it has been phenomenal. We just have light and day business coming in, phone calls coming in, walk-ins, referrals. It's just through the roof, and we couldn't be happier. At the moment, we are up 50% this year from the previous year, and not only is that part of our own hard work and diligence, but also with the help of Thrive and what they've done for us and getting us on the top of Google and, you know, all their knowledge and coaching. And yeah, so super grateful, super pumped to see what the future holds for all of us. Thank you.
This is your year to thrive. Success you will find. Today is your day, and now is your time.
Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth. Proverbs 10:4. I'm here to tell you, you can do it if you can just motivate yourself. 12 the masses had to cut off a few, so on the daily you and I could rendezvous. A misshapen tree that I had to prune. I had to make cuts to be here daily at noon. So like a tidal wave of knowledge monsoon, I could rain on the parades of those who doubt in you. Are you the next Rockefeller or the next guru, or the next Dr. King who's changing the rules? Walls are in your way, will you run right through? Like a running back, force the one, it's up to you. I remember my days back in the dorm room, tuned to the gloom like the temple of doom. Overwhelmed with the doubts that try to consume my hope for the future that I could pursue. But from the mountaintop now I can conclude that you have what it takes if you want the view to.
This is your year to thrive. Success you will find. Today is your day, and now is your time. It's your year to thrive. Success you will find. Today is your day, and now is your time.
This moment is profound cause you're above the ground. Your road might have been rough, but what you got now is now. We're here to pick you up and to even show you how, but you gotta be resourceful with that old plow. Started from the bottom, but I worked my way up, cause by 4 a.m. I've always been prayed up. Rise and grind as your time, don't dare let up. You gotta get it, don't quit it till your seeds grow up.
This is your year to thrive.
Come on.
Success you will find.
Yes.
Today is your day,
Somebody say,
and now is your time.
it's your time.
It's your year to thrive.
Come on.
Success you will find. Today is your day, and now is your time.
It's your time. We all have a wish and we all want to win, but we cannot begin without self-discipline. If you fall on your face, get yourself up again. Attach yourself to goals, not fail with the friends. When the storms get rough and they're scattered in thee, live with yourself in what you believe. We believe in you, but not as much as God does. If you're going through hell, he's got nothing but love. Apply what you learn, increase what you earn, and in due time you have money to burn.
Apply what you've learned, increase what you've earned, and in due time you got money to burn.
Sing it.
Apply what you've learned, increase what you've earned, in due time you got money to burn.
Sing it.
Apply what you've learned,
Sing it.
increase what you've earned.
Yes.
In due time you got money to
With this lyrical miracle, I look to shout down the doubters, kill the weeds that be killing your dream flowers, empower you to devour all the obstacles that make your sweet dreams sour. As for me, I used to stutter, but now I'm on the microphone smooth like butter. If I can do it, I know you can too, but you must stick to it like postage do. And while Merton's on the chorus, singing what he sings, I encourage you to dream big dreams.
Today is your day.
Today's your day.
And now is your time.
It's your time.
This is your year to thrive.
Sing it, sing it.
Success you will find. Today is your day.
It's your day.
And now is your time.
It's your time.
Today is your day.
Come on.
And now is your time.
Sing it, Martin.
Today is your day. Now is your time.
I realize I can't sing like that, but I can talk and play the woodblock. Okay. If you guys need me, I'll just be over here.